If you're stepping into a new project or investment and you've got a lot of pieces to figure out, you've got a lot of things to pull together to make this happen, then take a moment and get into the flow with gratitude and appreciation and watch what unfolds for you. Watch what naturally comes together and how joyful this process can really be, and you can just catapult yourself to the next level when you're in that flow with grace, joy, and ease. What if the bank gave you $500,000 to put into a savings account that earns on average 6% a year, and somebody else paid off that loan, and then in 15 years you get to walk away with $1 million? Let me know if you want to find out how. So we listed a house that was not in the best condition, hadn't been lived in for a while. It needed a bit of work, right? But we went through and we fixed the basic things, got it looking great for the listing, and we thought about what is truly amazing and special about this property. Who is going to pay the most and appreciate this property the most out of any other person, out of any other property? What truly makes this special? And we amplified those things, and I've got to tell you, we got the most for the property in the least amount of time, and the person that bought it was the exact person who appreciated and was specifically looking for the things that we called out. So if we had done a generic listing to a generic person, the average person, we would have gotten maybe $50,000 less for that property. But because we figured out what is the unique value proposition that this property has for the person who's going to pay the most for it and value it the most and appreciate it the most, then we created a special situation that was a win-win on all sides. You want to know what makes me really happy is thinking about how the bank gave us $350,000 to buy a house that the tenants pay for and will likely be valued at $1 million in under 20 years, and very little money out of our own pockets. Let me know if you want to see how this can work for you in your situation. I have a real estate client who has a growing family, and they decided that they were ready for a bigger space, more space inside for homeschooling, more space outside for the kids to be super active, and they were just ready for that next chapter. So we listed the house on a Friday, and they went out on a Saturday to go look at some new options, and they were under contract with both homes. They got above value for the house they were selling. They bought the new house for undervalue, so they walked away from the whole thing with an extra $10,000 to $20,000 of extra wealth in their pocket. What an amazing example of what happens when you have decided and you're truly ready for the next step. What if, while your tenants are paying your mortgage, you are helping them to be set up for successful homeownership in the near future? This is one example of profit and impact with real estate. The best time to take that leap is not when you're ready. It's the leap that makes you ready. A perfect example of this is when we did our first real estate investment. It was a duplex, and we had been planning it for about a year, looking at hundreds of different properties. And finally, I felt something inside of me that was like, we just need to do it. We're never going to be 100% ready. and we had just enough in place to make it feasible. So we went ahead and did it, and there was a learning curve for sure. There was some nervousness, some stress, just the uncertainty of having it be the first time doing the thing. And we learned along the way. This is a principle that is very common in the human experience, where we learn things when we need to utilize that skill. It's a natural process. It will happen regardless of what you're doing. If you stay committed to being successful and you stay committed to following through and showing up, then you will figure it out as you go. So this may be your sign that you've done enough preparation, and now is the time to take that leap and figure it out as you go along and become ready because of that leap. When we're buying or selling real estate, our success is less dependent on the current market and more dependent on the strategy that we're utilizing for that market and the team that we hire. There's not necessarily a good or bad market for real estate. It's a effective or defective strategy for that particular scenario that we're dealing with. Every property is totally different. Every season is different. Every market is different. We've got to be able to show up and bring a strategy that is going to set you up for the highest probability of success for that given scenario. When we're buying or selling real estate, our success is less dependent on the current market and more dependent on the strategy that we're utilizing for that market and the team that we hire. There's not necessarily a good or bad market for real estate. It's a effective or defective strategy for that particular scenario that we're dealing with. Every property is totally different. Every season is different. Every market is different. We've got to be able to show up and bring a strategy that is going to set you up for the highest probability of success for that given scenario.